Hey, welcome everyone. Happy fall. Welcome to October. Today I'm going to offer an abbreviated, maybe 20-minute or so practice to offer some support through transitions. So we're welcoming the fall, we're welcoming October, we're perhaps creating changes in schedules or routines and rhythms and temperature, etc., that accompanies this shift. So sometimes with transitions, we have this sense of kind of losing our footing. So this practice will be focused on sort of the pelvis downward, connecting to our legs, to our feet, to these structures that carry us through and connect us to the earth. And then we'll also pay careful attention to our transitions throughout this practice. So sometimes with these transition times, times of change, there's a sense of maybe being hurried, maybe moving not at our own pace. Sometimes the change is initiated by something that is outside of us or not of our choosing. And in these transition times, there can be a tendency perhaps to want to grasp onto what came before or a hurried anticipation and movement toward what is coming next. So today's practice will be a place for you to slow down, to connect, to cultivate presence in each posture, in each of the moments, as a reminder of this tool that you have of grounding into present moment as a steadying force, a stabilizing force to help carry you through these and to navigate times of change. So, let's begin. Please make yourself comfortable lying down in the space that you're in. You can stretch your legs out in Shavasana. If it's more comfortable for you to take constructed rest pose with your knees bent and your feet grounded on the floor, you can choose that shape. And I'll demonstrate that now. Your comfortable Shavasana shape. Begin to source foundation by feeling the skeletal framework of the body and start to notice the steadiness of its connection to the surface beneath you. And with each breath out, welcome the opportunity to relax the muscles a little bit more, to rest in the bones a little bit more, to allow the body to be held by the surface beneath you. So both steadiness and softness are present together here. Now begin to direct awareness to the breath. You might let your hands rest at the low belly, the space between the hip points. If that tactile feedback is okay for you, perhaps you prefer a blanket or a block across the low belly, just below the rib cage. And let's place our attention at this space around and below the navel. Sensing this reservoir of the low belly relaxing and expanding to receive the breath in. And then as you breathe out, move your attention down through the pelvis, the leg bones, all the way down to the soles of the feet, feeling where they meet the mat or the space around you. We'll take about 6 more breaths in this way. Drawing the in-breath deep into the belly as a function of relaxing, receiving, and allowing. And then breathing out, feeling the navel deepen toward the back body resting on the floor, and attention moving down, flowing down through legs and feet. And in this slowing down, in this grounding, in this sourcing of foundation, an opportunity to simply observe anytime that the mind shifts back into recall or replay, anytime the mind fast forwards in anticipation, acknowledging that, and then just gently grounding back into awareness of the breath, moving down to the core of the body, exhaling, tracing awareness, tracing energy out through the legs, the soles of the feet, feeling the surface beneath you. All right, if the legs were stretched out, let's go ahead and bend the knees now, and we'll walk the heels into about sit bones width distance apart. And then slide that left leg long on the floor. Let the knee and the toes point up to the ceiling. And then again, as we inhale, we'll let that right thigh open out toward the side. Belly softens, receives that breath in. And then as you exhale, stand on that right foot, ground down into the big toe mound. And when you're ready to breathe in again, let the knee open out to the side, externally rotating the right thigh in the hip socket. And then exhaling, standing on the right foot, feeling the firmness of the space where the foot meets the mat. And we'll do this 4 more times on this side. And notice, can you have a sense of being anchored, being steady, grounded through that left side as you create this movement in another part of the body? Yeah, so the sense is that that left thigh and hip are not rolling back and forth with us as we explore the right side. And then we'll stretch that right leg out long, fold the left knee in, and really sense that you can stand down through the forward edge of the left heel. Feel the steadiness of the hip points here. Hug the leg muscles tight to the bones, especially on that right side. Yep. And then let's inhale and roll toward the outer edge of the left foot. And then as you exhale, press the big toe mound back down into the floor. Externally rotating the left leg, drawing the breath deep into the belly. And then exhaling, standing on that left foot. And we'll take that 3 more times on this side. Each breath out, let the shoulder blades and upper arm bones rest heavy toward the mat. Feel the back of the head cradled on the floor. Okay, let's walk the right foot back in. And then lengthen the tailbone down toward the space between the heels. And on an exhale, maybe cup the hands over the kneecaps. Maybe bring a strap around your heels or your thighs. Find your expression of this Apanasana, knees to chest, wind relieving pose. Breathing into the fullness of your low back ribs where they meet the mat. And breathing out, letting the belly rest toward the back body. Feel the heaviness of the thigh bone. And then we'll bring the feet back down to the floor. Shift the hips to the left, roll to your right, and make your way up to a tabletop pose. So I'm just going to demonstrate and talk through a flow that I'll invite you to take any variation on. With tabletop, wrists are going to be just a step forward of the shoulders. Shin bones are parallel behind you, and we're pressing down through the center of the shins. Hips are right over the knees. Now let the in-breath carry us into a little back bend, cow pose. Exhale, ground through the first finger and thumb of each hand. Dome the back body toward the ceiling. And let the exhale carry you all the way back towards child's pose. And then we'll inhale, come back to tabletop. Exhale, tuck the toes under, press the ribs toward the thighs, and lift the hips. Lengthen the legs gradually. No need to push the heels down to the floor. So the in-breath will be a little back bend, cow pose. Exhale through cat spine all the way back to child's. Let the in-breath carry you back to tabletop, neutral spine. And then exhale, tuck the toes, feel the stretch through the soles of the feet and the backs of the legs, maybe around the small of the back as you gradually lengthen the legs. I'll go through it one more time. Knees come down, inhale, back bend. Exhale through cat spine all the way back toward child's. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. And then exhale back to downward facing dog. And I'll just invite you to flow through this for a few more rounds, but let each posture be its own shape. So even as we are linking table to down dog, even as we're flowing from cow pose to cat spine, we're present, we're allowing each of those shapes to be its own place and time. So in this way, even though there's a particular momentum that is occurring, we're choosing where we place our attention within that flow. Letting each posture, letting each moment be its own. Okay. So the next time the knees come back down to the floor for tabletop, let's either use blocks or tent your right hand to make a little space to bring that right foot through. And then we'll tuck the left toes under and wiggle those toes comfortably long on the mat. Right knee is over the ankle or a little bit behind it. We're working that left leg straight here in our lunge. And now as you inhale, soften the left knee a little bit, hovering it just above the mat. Then exhale, imagine stretching from the inner left thigh to the inner left ankle bone. Soften the knee toward the mat as you breathe in, and then press through the heel as you breathe out. Good. Feeling the press of the hands into the floor or into your blocks. And feeling as though you're continuing to stand steady and strong through the forward edge of your right heel, pressing down into the pad beneath big toe and pinky toe. Once more on this side, just softening the left knee toward the mat, pressing through the heel, hips staying pretty steady all the way through. And now as we exhale, we'll straighten that forward leg. As you breathe in, have a sense of lengthening from left hip to left shoulder. And as you breathe out, folding over that right leg. See if you can keep your ears level with your shoulders here. Reduce any rounding from the upper back by changing the height of your blocks. We'll bend into the forward knee, step the back foot in a little bit, and then we'll turn all 10 toes to the long edge of the mat. Blocks are shoulder width distance apart. Inner edges of the feet relatively parallel. Inhale, push the blocks away, tall spine. Exhale and fold forward. Feel the pelvis roll over the thighs. And we'll do this 4 more times, letting each out breath be a little bit longer than the one that preceded it. So the same way that we allowed each posture to be its own space and time, allow each breath to experience its own fullness, its own completeness. Rising into the fullness of the in-breath, folding into the completeness of the out-breath. And then we'll walk our lunge around to the other side. So starting to turn those back toes in, turning the forward toes and thigh out, and then walk around to the short edge of the mat. Wiggle that right leg a little bit longer on the mat now, coming high onto the toes. And then left knee is right over the ankle or a little behind it. And we'll inhale, soften the back knee toward the mat. And then exhale, push through the back heel. And let's do that 5 more times. Try not to bring the hips up and down with you in this exploration. A sense of lengthening the tailbone back toward the inner edge of your back heel. And can you still let your awareness travel down to the low belly as you breathe in? Down through the hips, the legs, the feet as you breathe out. Let's step the back foot in now, and then turn the heel in and down. The forward arm can stay on the block, or the forearm can come up to the thigh. And then as you inhale, take the top arm beyond the crown of the head. And see as you breathe out, can you spin the belly away from the fold of the forward knee? 4 more breaths here. The in breath carried all the way down to the low belly. And then exhale, awareness pouring down through the legs, the feet, feeling their strength, feeling their steadiness. If it doesn't seem to be there today, notice that you're nurturing that, you're inviting that, you're gradually building it. And bringing the top hand down to the ribs, lifting from those upper ribs up and out of the pose. We'll turn all 10 toes through center. And then turn left thigh and toes out. Step your right foot a little bit more toward the center of your mat. Let that back leg come toward a mild internal rotation. And then bending into the forward knee. Find your foundation. Feel the knee over the ankle or a little behind it. Wrap the leg muscles toward the bones through that back leg. Track the forward knee out toward the second toe. And then see if it works best for you to have your forearm at your thigh or to bring the hand down to the block. Each breath out, a sense of stacking the top shoulder over the bottom shoulder, turning the belly away from the fold of the forward knee. Inhale, moving down to the belly. Exhale, awareness down through the legs and feet. Bring the top hand to the ribs and lift through those upper ribs, straighten the forward leg, coming up and out of the pose. And then pivoting on the back foot so all 10 toes face center. We'll step forward. And let's pause, Tadasana, mountain pose. Let the biceps roll out, let the palms face forward. And here again, feel the in-breath trace down to the low belly. Imagine the exhale carrying increased awareness, steadiness, down through the feet. Make our way down to a seated position now. So if you have a little pillow or blanket available in your space, we'll bring that underneath the seat. And stretch both legs out in front of you. We'll fold the right knee in now and open it out to the side. And then take a moment to feel yourself sitting down evenly through both sit bones. Left knee and toes are up toward the ceiling. And if you have a strap in your space, let's slide that down to the heel close to the mat. Once again, sense that in-breath pouring down to the low belly. And then as you exhale, move from the hips. And then let that translate up into the low back and the side waist. I'm finding Janu Shirsasana here. Now, as this posture is relatively still on the outside, let awareness flow again on the breath, noticing the fullness of the in breath, noticing the completeness of the out breath, neither half of the breath rushing the other, instead complementing each other. And as our awareness follows that breath, we expand into presence. Neither gripping what is behind or grasping for what is ahead. Noticing here now. And we'll slowly walk the hands back in and bring the spine upright. And we'll stretch the right leg out to meet the left and then fold the left knee in and open it out to the side. Right knee and toes up to the ceiling now. And utilizing that in breath to draw the breath and draw attention down to the belly, down to the center of the pelvis. And then exhaling, folding over the right leg this time. Allowing the shoulder blades to continue to rest in a neutral position on the back ribs, so we're not hunching the shoulders or rounding forward. Allow for a little bit of buoyancy behind that right knee. So again, both steadiness and softness present here. Remembering the powerful tool of breath awareness. If the mind speeds up or becomes dull or distracted, three more breaths here, relaxing any holding, any striving, letting each yield to presence in this moment. And then releasing the strap and slowly walking the shoulders back up over the hips. Let's make our way down to lying on our backs now. And here you can bring the arms out to goal pose, stretch your arms out to a T. If you come to goal pose and feel some tightness across the chest, just go ahead and bring your block right underneath your wrist here and let the upper arm bone settle down to the floor. Let's shift the hips over to the right and then release the knees over to the left. And stretch that right arm out. If it's comfortable for your neck, your gaze rolls over that right shoulder now. Simply allowing the breath now to flow into space where it exists and to soften resistance and tension where it exists. Slowly rolling the head back to center now, followed by the knees. Let yourself find an in breath and an out breath here with the spine neutral. And then we'll shift the hips over to the left, release the knees over to the right, and then let that left upper arm bone relax back down toward the floor. The gaze rolling over the left shoulder if that's comfortable for your neck. And then once again, becoming the observer, noticing the breath, the way the breath flows through this particular shape, this particular moment, flowing into space where it exists, softening resistance where it exists. Let's slowly now turn the head back through center, followed by the knees and followed by the hips. And then once again, we'll fold the knees in toward the chest. As you inhale, gently rock the thigh bones away, let the arms lengthen. And then as you exhale, bend the elbows, knees to chest. 3 more times, letting each subsequent out breath be a little longer, a little smoother, a little more complete than the one that preceded it. Letting that final out breath be the most releasing. And then go ahead and relax the legs once again down to a comfortable position. Let the arms rest comfortably at your sides as you make your way into Shavasana. For the first few moments here in your resting shape, again, just sense prana, sense energy traveling down to the core of the body as it breathes in. Letting awareness flow down through the steadying, grounding forces through the pelvis, the legs, the soles of the feet back to the earth. The inhale carrying awareness to center. The exhale steadying and anchoring in that connection. Eventually, even this awareness releasing as all doing yields to being, and you rest deeply for the next few minutes. Inviting you to stay with this Shavasana for the next few minutes and follow with seated meditation, Kaya Sthira, or awareness of breath transitions.